The interview with BJNN is brought to you by Biz Events, connecting the Central New York business community through events.
Hi, I'm Adam Rombel, Editor-in-Chief of the Business Journal News Network, here with the new edition of The Interview. And our guest today is John Trimble, President and CEO of CNS Companies. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Adam.
Now, John, we like to start these interviews with the personal side. Where did you grow up, and how did you first decide to become an engineer?
Well, I grew up in Oswego County, in a small town called Palermo, and I actually still live there today. Built my own house and live in the house that I built back in 1992. And growing up, I lived in a rural area, and we did a lot of self-construction, home projects, things like that. So that got me interested in construction, and I enjoyed math and science in high school, and then that took me down a path of engineering, and that's where I ended up. I went to state school for a couple of years, and then got my bachelor's in structural engineering from Clarkson University in 1990.
So it was a natural fit, and you were kind of always on that path, right?
Yes, that's
and
correct.
Stayed on it.
Yeah.
Now, you have been, now I'll back up a step here just so our listeners who might not be aware, CNS Companies is a large growing construction, civil engineering, design, architecture firm, and other services as well, headquartered right by Syracuse Hancock International Airport. And you have numerous offices across the country as well, right?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, we're headquartered here in Syracuse. This is hometown, our hometown. But in addition to that, we're across the state, Albany, Rochester, Buffalo. We're in the Great Lakes, Ohio and Michigan area. And then we're in the Southwest, Southern California and Arizona. And then also down in the Southeast with our Orlando and Tampa offices.
So diversified geographically.
Yeah, it all started here.
Now, you've been with CNS for almost 30 years, and you've gradually worked your way up through the ranks and in several different departments. Tell us kind of about that. Give us, I guess, the quick summary of your career path of how that developed inside the company.
Okay. Yeah. When I graduated from college on a Sunday, and I remember the day because it was May 19th, which the next day was my birthday, and that was the first day I started with CNS, that next Monday. And I started in the inspection side of things, doing highway inspection. And then I moved through into doing civil design within our aviation and transportation groups. And then I got into more of the vertical construction, building design, doing structural engineering and things like that. And then I moved forward, managed some groups in that area. And then we started a contracting business. So now that's when we started to do both design and construction. So I was involved in the startup of that.
About when was that? What year was that?
That was around the 1995 time frame. And actually, myself and my brother was with the organization at the time. We started that construction company. And from there, I continued into operations management on the design and construction side. And then here I am today in the role I'm in.
And what year were you named the president and CEO?
I was named the president of our design company back about 10 years ago. And then 2 years ago, I've been named the president and CEO of the entire entity.
And today, how many employees does the entire company have?
We employ over 500 people.
And how many offices is that?
We have about 18 functioning offices now.
Okay. Now, one of the big projects that your firm was involved in, you were the designer and construction manager for the big renovations at the terminal building at the Hancock International Airport, which is your neighbor, so it makes sense.
Yeah, we were lucky to be involved in that.
Yeah, tell us about the challenges and rewards of that project.
Okay. Well, I know you had an interview with the executive director, Christina Callahan, not too long ago. And I do need to give a shout out to her. She really provided the leadership for the project and did a great job, her and her team down there at the authority. But yeah, we were involved in the design and the construction. The biggest challenge was that this project came about because the airport won a competition, a state competition for funding. And with that funding came a very aggressive schedule. because the state was interested in the project getting done quickly. So without a doubt, getting the project done in the schedule that was dictated was the biggest challenge. We had about 9 months to get the project constructed from start to finish. And with that, there was a lot of disruption to the airport, which I'm sure everybody saw.
Yes.
But that was driven by the schedule, and now hopefully everybody's glad with the completed product.
And what kind of feedback have you received, not just from the airport, but from, other customers and just, people in general about the project?
This was one of those projects that was really transformational. We get involved in a lot of projects that people see and then maybe don't see if it's infrastructure. But in this case, people look at this and say, wow, the airport took a total new look. And was transformational for the airport, and we've received a lot of positive comments. And our team put a lot of effort into this. Mike LaMontagne, Tom Horth, who led the program for us, Ed Regan, Don Clark, all really put a lot of energy into this to make it all happen.
Now, this kind of a project obviously is, it's also high risk because, the airport is like a symbol of a community. It's the front porch of the community. So I can imagine the pressure to get it done right.
I think we all felt the pressure throughout the project.
Now, looking ahead, we've entered 2019, and what are some of your growth plans for the company and top priorities for this new year?
Well, I think here within Central New York, we're focused on design, build, integrated project delivery, where we can combine both our design and construction capabilities. So that's the focus here. We've got an Albany office that we've really gained momentum in. So that's going to be an area that we're going to do more into the future. So we're focused on growth there. And then outside of New York, really our Southern California, Arizona, and Orlando offices are our focus areas for all of our services.
And are you seeing growth out in those markets?
Yeah, those markets have been very busy. We have noticed all of our markets have been busy, but the Southwest and the Southeast have been a bit more busy.
Now, that sort of answered my next question in terms of your regions that are growing the fastest, but what's the line of business that's probably growing the fastest?
I would say in the Southeast market, it's more the hospitality because of the nature of the economy there. And then if you look in Southern California, Arizona, it's commercial and institutional type projects there.
Now, we started this interview talking about the personal side, and we're going to end it there sort of. Obviously when you've got an engineering, architecture, construction firm, this type of firm, finding the qualified people to run it and also to do the work is a challenge. Now, tell us about that. How do you find the people that you need to grow, especially in all these disparate markets that you're in across the country?
Sure. And you're hitting a key point here, because it's more challenging than ever to find the people. So what we found that we do, we're going wider with our recruiting. So we're actually recruiting across the country now, where we used to really focus in the Northeast. And then secondly, we're reaching out to school districts to come in and give career speeches about opportunities in engineering and construction, because we found that we've got a little lack of interest in people getting into those areas and those professions. So Terry Hopkins leads that effort for us, and we go out and actually speak to these districts to try to get the kids interested.
Yeah, try to plant the seeds early.
Exactly. Yeah. So that then hopefully on the back end, when they get to college, that we can have them come on and join the CNS team.
Yeah, I think there's a disconnect. It can be a tremendously rewarding career, but there's, it's not just construction. The manufacturing side deals with this too, where, people don't realize, wait, that could be a great career for me. It's maybe stigma isn't the right word, but you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. And it's, like you said, the manufacturing product side. There's the utility delivery side of things, power, things of that nature. And then there's things like we do, which is designing infrastructure and buildings and building those.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, John.
Well, appreciate being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.